So you're starting SMMA and you're trying to set meetings, but no matter what you do, it doesn't matter how many messages you send on what platform, you're just not setting those meetings to close clients. So what I'm going to do is break down the top 9 tips as to the reasons why you're not setting these meetings for your SMMA. So stay tuned. Look guys, I completely get it. You're starting SMMA, you're sending out messages, you're emailing, you're cold calling, you're sending messages on LinkedIn, you're doing all sorts of crap, but it's just not working. You just can't seem to set any meetings consistently. So guys, I'm going to break down the top 9 reasons as to why you can't set any meetings for your social media marketing agency. So let's jump straight into the 9 points. And point number 1 is that you have no differentiation from everybody else. You're literally doing the same thing, using the same scripts, trying to just land that meeting straight away. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that you need to do something very different to stand out from the hundreds of messages these businesses are probably getting each and every day. I see everybody using a very similar script, very similar structures, very similar techniques. That's kind of like dying out now, guys. People have a lot of, what's it called? Banner blindness. It's kind of what happens when you run the same ad over and over again. People kind of get used to the ads. If you use a particular style of ad, people kind of get used to that, and then develop what you call banner blindness, where they don't even see the ad anymore. They just scroll straight past it because they just know it's an ad. Some of you guys are using very similar techniques as to everybody else, and so your messages, whether you're doing emails, LinkedIn messages, Facebook messages and stuff like that, they're just not being read or seen, just because these people, they're getting like 20 of those every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you need to do something very different to stand out. And a suggestion I could give you guys is maybe, send over a video message or send over a voice note or something like that. Do something different that's going to allow you to stand out like a sore thumb. You want to be able to catch attention, retain attention, and get your message opened and actually deliver your message very concisely in a very efficient way. So make sure you've got some sort of differentiation, guys. So point number 2, you're probably still using the trigger words, what I like to call trigger words. This is where you'll be, in your script and you're talking on something on the lines of, my name is Montel and I run a marketing agency. Now, marketing and marketing agency are, it's what we do, but once you say that to a business owner, they kind of like roll their eyes and it kind of pushes them away. So please stay away from trigger words such as, agency, advertising, marketing, and increase your revenue. Everybody says the same shit, so make sure you stay away from these trigger words. Again, these are kind of like point number 1, where everybody keeps saying these same words and they're kind of off-putting at this point. They kind of they have the adverse effect of what we're trying to achieve here. So make sure you stay away from those kind of trigger words and use something on the lines of, I help so and so. So like say I help gym owners attract more clients on a monthly basis. Now that sounds way better than saying, something on the lines of, we're a marketing agency that specializes in generating leads for gyms. Like it just sounds a little bit better and it flows better. Or saying something on the lines of, we're a Facebook ads agency that run ads for businesses and generate leads. That just sounds so shit, and it's got those trigger words in them that you kind of need to stay away from, because again, banner blindness is taking effect here. So moving on to reason number 3 why you can't set any meetings for your SMMA is because you're talking about you way too much. The whole focus and whatever you're saying in your script is all about you. So you're, for example, saying stuff, and I've actually seen this in some of you guys' messages that you send me, saying, can you take a look at my script, see why it's not working. And a lot of you guys are saying stuff on the lines of, hi John, my name is Montel, I'm a 22-year-old digital entrepreneur, digital marketer from Sheffield, and all that one sentence, that whole sentence right there is you, and you. You've just talked about, you said his name once. They do want to know what your name is. They don't really care about it. They don't care how old you are, what you do. They just want you to get straight to the point, basically. So don't talk about you too much. Of course, you want to introduce yourself, keep it very minimal though, guys, because I see that you guys are, you know, using those trigger words such as marketing agency, and then you're saying stuff like, I'm 22, I'm from this place. They don't really care about your backstory. Just get straight to the point. So tip number 4, which could be a whole video in itself, but you guys are not providing any value up front. You're just trying to dive straight into the meeting. Now, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I, for example, message a girl on like Instagram or some shit and I'm trying to get their number or take them out on a date, I don't just say, you know, hi, I like your face, my name's Montel, let's go out on a date. That it just doesn't happen like that. You need to build a real relationship first. Actually start talking, ask them questions about the business, provide some value up front, and then ask for the meeting. Don't just dive straight in on message 1. I mean, that's very weird. If somebody did that to me, like, hi Montel, I like you, let's go for dinner, like, that doesn't happen. The guys, that only really happens on like Tinder or some shit. So guys, my point with number 4 is you actually want to provide something of value up front. At least build some sort of relationship if you can't provide value. When I say provide value, I mean, you know, actually go into their business and say, hey John, I realized that, you know, blah 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 on your website was broken, da 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 da. Just provide them with some sort of value that you can actually, you know, give them, and it's actually going to help them in their business or something like that. So guys, make sure you're providing value up front, build relationships, and then ask for the meeting. Don't just dive straight into the meeting, because that's weird. If you was you know, trying to date a girl, you wouldn't do that sort of stuff. So kind of treat it the similar way as in building that relationship. So reason number 5 as to why you guys are struggling to set meetings for your SMMA. Tip number 5 is basically, you guys have some really shitty profiles. Now, I say that with love you guys, but yo, some of your profiles are really shit. And what I mean by that is you've got super unprofessional, like, you know, photos on your LinkedIn or your Facebook. If you're doing Facebook outreach and stuff like that, you need to have clean profiles, because when you're reaching out to these business owners, they are 110% going to be looking at your profile if you actually use a quite, you know, a great, you know, catchy message up front. That is, if you're just using the same old general bland scripts, then you're not even going to get your profile looked at. But again, we've already covered that in point 1 and 2 and 3 probably. But anyway, guys, you want to have professional looking photos. You want your content on your profiles to be about the niche you're actually in. So for example, if I'm reaching out to the gym niche and I'm on LinkedIn, I want to be talking about, you know, and have content on my LinkedIn profile related to the gym niche. So I could have articles such as, you know, reasons why the gym niche should use Facebook ads, just as an example. But you definitely want some sort of content on there that's relatable to that niche you're actually trying to reach out to. Again, if you're reaching out to the car dealership niche or the real estate niche, you want something related to that niche. And another point, guys, is that you want to make sure you go through and audit your profiles properly. Make sure you've got professional headshots. You want to make sure your photos are of high quality, contents are relevant, and you want to make sure that, you know, you're not having like weird photos of like anime or some dumb shit like that. I mean, I love anime, but you can't have like anime all posted all over your wall. So guys, especially on Facebook, what you want to do is make sure you turn off when people are allowed to comment stuff on your wall, because your friends might post some dumb shit on your wall, and that could actually hinder you in the world of selling, basically. So what you want to do, guys, is make sure you've got, you know, professional photos on there. You don't want photos of you and your friends getting drunk on a weekend or smoking weed, or whatever you guys do on the weekend. I'm not judging you guys, but you don't want that on your actual profile. What you need to do is ask yourself, how can you better merge your personal life and your business life on that profile and make it actually look like you're a real human being, yes, but you're very professional as well. So that's how you want to be thinking about your profiles. A lot of people ask me, you know, should they have a business profile and a personal profile? I say no to that. I actually just believe you should have one, because it shows you that, you know, you're a human and you're a professional. And you want to be able, and what you want to do is you basically want to combine those two, your two sides of your life, very nicely, neatly, coherent, and just make sure that, you know, you're not posting dumb shit on your Facebook if you're using your Facebook as an outreach method. So point number 6 as to why you guys are struggling to set meetings for your SMMA is that you're not using real personalization in your messages. If you're using, you know, LinkedIn, emails, you know, all the, you know, text-based outreach or even, you know, video outreach. So what you want to do, guys, is, I mean, using somebody's name isn't really personalization. You actually want to go and find some information about that business and use that as a footing, so like a way in, so like your foot through the door. So you want to use that information as your way in through the door basically. So for example, if you are reaching out to the real estate niche and you read an article and it has this business mentioned in it, so on LinkedIn I believe you have to have Sales Navigator for this, but it will actually show you whenever a business actually gets mentioned in some sort of news article or something like that. And it also shows you a couple other things such as who's your mutual friends. So you can actually use those like pieces of information as a way in through the door. So what I actually recommend you guys do is do a little bit of research into the business, actually go and find something. Maybe it could just be as something on the lines of they won some sort of an award like last year or 6 months ago, and what you can do is use that as a congratulations and a way through the door basically. So you want to take a piece of information and use that as leverage basically. So yeah guys, you definitely want more personalization than just the person's first and last name and company name, because I know that you guys just when it comes to personalization, you guys are just using the first name, last name and the name of the company, whereas what you want to do is actually go and find real pieces of information about that business. So tip number 7 is that you guys are using some really over the top sales scripts, like coming across way too salesy. Like I'm seeing emails such as if you want to 3x your business revenue, use these 7 tips. Like, no, stop that. That just sounds way too salesy, way too over the top. You need to chill, be a real human being, open a real conversation. Before you can close a sale, by the way, you have to open the sale. And how you open that is by building a relationship with that person. And I've kind of covered that in the previous points. So tip number 7 is don't be too over the top with the sales stuff. Guys, I know we're all trying to be like Grant Cardone. I mean, that stuff does work, but people are kind of, again, they're developing an ear for that or an eye for that, and they're developing banner blindness to that, especially when it's super over the top salesy. It's actually very off-putting to business owners, and they don't really want that because they are they're bombarded with messages each and every day. So just keep that in mind, guys. So tip number 8 here, guys, is that you guys are forgetting your follow-ups. Now, follow-ups is where the money's at. So I'm pretty sure we've all heard of that saying, the money is in the follow-ups. It really is true, guys. You, of course, aren't going to. Guys, the chances of selling the meeting for your SMMA on the first message is really small unless you know exactly what you're doing. But sometimes the business owners are literally just busy and haven't had chance to read your message or even reply to your message if they've seen it. I've had it time and time again where I've literally sent out a really compelling Loom audit video, and the person's watched it but they haven't replied, and I've just made sure, I've just asked them, hey John, how did you find the audit or something like that, and then they reply back saying, oh sorry, I completely forgot to even reply, I was super busy this week. And then we'll start conversation from there and then jump on into an SMMA meeting. And so what I'm trying to say here, guys, is make sure you're following up, because you actually don't know the reason as to why that person hasn't replied to you. And I was just watching a Grant Cardone video. It's nice to mention him again in this point, but he was actually mentioning that what you should do when it comes to selling is just assume that they didn't see it. Just always assume they didn't see it and continue to follow up until they say no. Now, you don't want to be over the top pesty or over the top salesy. You actually want to provide value again and actually, not be, a headache to them. So definitely follow up. On average, I believe I can't remember the actual figures, but the figure was like the average person buys on the 7th, or it was like the 10th touch point. So it actually takes you 7 messages until they actually make a buying decision. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing your outreach. Follow up, but don't be a pest. And last but not least, guys, is tip number 9, which is you guys are still sending messages to the gatekeepers directly instead of the actual business owners. Guys, I see it time and time again where you guys are literally still sending emails to the info@email addresses or the reception@email addresses, which is basically just the gatekeepers. I mean, there are some times when you need to send an email to that person, but when you're sending it to an info@, you're gonna need to ask for the person's email or something like that. That's the only time you should be really emailing an info@. Or if you can't find the email, what I suggest you do is call up the business and actually just ask, hey, is John around? Is there an email is there an email address I can get hold of him with, or something on the lines of that. You don't really want to be sending emails to info@arts because it's a complete waste of time. So guys, those are my 9 reasons why you guys are not setting SMMA meetings. I mean, you may have just one of these that you need to rectify, and that could make all the difference, or you might actually be doing all of these mistakes here. So whatever it is in your case, make sure you just take a look at this video and try and identify and really audit yourself and see what you're doing right now, and see if you can actually relate to one of these points. And I can guarantee it that you are at least doing one of these things if you're not setting any meetings. So guys, with that being said, that's all for today's video. I hope that you found this of value, and I hope that you can actually start setting some meetings soon. But with that being said, all the best. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.